Billy, do a prayer.
Yeah.
Welcome to our Economic Development Committee meeting. I'm going to ask Senator Hickman to say the prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord. We know that in the quietness of this time, Lord, that you're in our midst, and we thank you for that, Lord. We know we get our guidance and wisdom from you, Lord, and we just ask you to continue watching over us, Lord, as we do great things for the great people of Georgia. In your son's name I pray. Amen.
All right. Okay, welcome to our meeting. It's a little after 8. I want to welcome the speaker. Good to see you, Mr. Speaker. All right. First bill we have is HB 1410, Majority Leader. You've already presented, so make it quick and we'll vote.
So just real quick, the changes made. First of all, a concern was raised by DCA on page 3 that we needed to distinguish homeless from the program participants. We have a new definition for that in line 43. We have language that DCA requested to clarify on page 7. This is 83-309. I think Senator Jones raised some questions about this as well. And so we fixed this to make clear that federal funds can still be received for the existing purpose, and just these funds dedicated will be for this new purpose. With respect to Senator Jones' question about 8-3-310, this was Legislative Council cleanup that they just did. There was no substantive change that was part of that. I'll just note lines 165 to 168. That is just language moved to lines 230 to 234, so we're not taking that out of the code. It'll just be its own code section. And then finally, Mr. Chairman, section 2, the audit. The audit will only apply to these new funds in this new accountability program, not to a complete comprehensive audit as was previously done. Would ask for the committee's favorable consideration.
Can you tell us the LC number just to make
Yes,
sure?
sir. It's LC 500842S.
Okay. Any questions of the committee? What's that? Okay, this is a committee sub to HB 1410 LC 500842S. Any discussion, any comments? Well, I think we have one public comment on this. Mac Parnell?
I just want to say we appreciate the majority leader's hard work to address this important issue. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, that was good comments. All right. Mr. Speaker, do you have any comments on this, or do you?
Not after that, I don't.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. I'll entertain a motion.
Pass, Mr. Chairman.
And we got a motion due pass from Senator Mello and due second from Senator Hodges. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. You got a unanimous vote. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Next on the list is HB 1138, Representative Kendrick. Tell us the LC number you're working off, Representative.
LC 500819.
And we have,
Yes, hold on,
wait a second, we have LC
hold on.
500722.
Yes, sorry, that, I submitted a committee substitute, that was the substitute number.
So this is
the
a
original.
committee sub?
Yes,
I don't think we got your committee sub.
it was in the attachment that I emailed, I have copies of it, but which one do you want me to present?
Well, what we have is LC 500722.
Okay, I'll present that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is HB 1138, and what this would do would add a 17th investment criteria to the Invest Georgia Fund. In the committee substitute, I had 2 other things to add to the reporting requirements, but I'll go over that later. But the Invest Georgia Fund is a fund that was set up in 2013, and we started funding it in 2015. It's a fund of funds, so it doesn't directly invest in Georgia businesses. It invests in other venture funds located here in the state of Georgia. Georgia. And it's been operating, and it's dispersed well over $100 million to venture funds located here in the state of Georgia. So this would add an additional investment criteria to the 16 that are already here to make sure that we are getting money to every parts of the state, and everyone with different backgrounds throughout the state of Georgia. For some context, my background is as a securities attorney, so I help companies nationwide raise funds, as well as an investment advisor, so I advise a lot of funds. And the purpose of this is to make sure that we are getting the taxpayer-funded funds to every part of the state of Georgia.
Okay.
And it's just one line.
It's a one-page bill, yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you for being here, ma'am. Would it be more important, instead of having demographics of Georgia, would it be more important, you mentioned you want to invest in all parts of Georgia, and I know we got, in our part of the world, it's just busting loose, but Southwest Georgia is really struggling, as I understand, talking to Senator Freddie Sims. Would it be better to have language that says something like all of Georgia instead of the demographics of Georgia? I don't quite understand that.
I mean, this is at the committee's discretion, but really, if we said all of Georgia, I just want it to be a little bit more specific to make sure that we're really honing down, to make sure that we're getting, outside of the metro Atlanta, helping veteran-owned businesses. So I want it to be a little bit more specific, because I'm afraid that if we put that in the language, that the board members, there's 5 board members, won't quite know what we're trying to get at.
So, second question, so what will those demographics show?
What do you mean?
We're talking about promote and reflect the demographic makeup. What are the demographics? Is that more like a race situation, or is that income situation, or what? That's what I'm
So
talking-
that would include any number of things. That would include, rural versus city,
Okay.
veteran-owned versus non-veteran-owned, I guess female versus the non-female led. Whatever the demographic makeup of Georgia is, it would be one of 17 investment criteria to make sure that it's going out, and the taxpayer funds are getting distributed.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, appreciate it.
Any other questions? Number 10.
10. Just a quick question. Do you want to add this just to clarify intent, or were we doing this before or not doing this before?
You mean were we reaching all parts of the state
Right,
of Georgia?
that's my question.
So there is a Invest Georgia report that comes out every year in 2000. So I have the report from 2023. So I Google each one of the venture firms, because one of the substitutes I was going to add is to add the website to the report. So I had to Google each one of the firms, and then invested in about 16 seed venture capital and growth equity funds. 99% of those were located in Metro Atlanta.
Okay.
So those funds were concentrated heavily in Metro Atlanta.
All right.
That's fine.
Thank
Senator
you.
Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And by reflecting the demographic makeup, that's something that's quantifiable. You can look up that data and see what the rural areas are in the state compared to the urban area. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So it does make sense to have demographic makeup in here, something that you can easily get data around, and you can measure how well these funds are doing in accordance with this legislation. Is that correct?
That's correct. And again, this is just one of 17 investment criteria. So it is, these rural venture funds would still have to meet the other, 16 requirements of it. It's just one.
Okay. Senator Eccles, what number is that, 9?
Number 9. Thank you. So you said this is one of the 17 criteria. What are the other 16?
I can list them if the committee has time. So in the original legislation that was passed in 2013, They have to consider the investment experience of the principals, the applicant's reputation in the VC industry, the knowledge, experience, and capabilities of the applicant, the tenure and turnover history of the principals and senior investment professionals, the applicant's record of performance, the applicant's history of attracting co-investment capital and syndicate investments, the soundness of the applicant's investment strategy, the applicant's history of job creation through investment, the ability to create employment opportunities in Georgia, lead to the growth of Georgia economy and qualified businesses, complement the research and development projects of Georgia, foster the development of technologies and industries, its presence throughout Georgia with a permanent local office, the local presence of senior investment principals, and the applicant's history of investing in early and growth stage businesses in Georgia.
Thank you. Thank you. That helps a lot.
Any other questions before I entertain a motion? All right, we got number 7.
Thank you, Representative. Where does the funding come from in this? Walk me through, if you don't mind, just the funding for this right here.
Sure. So we started, so originally when it was in conception in 2013, it was supposed to be a $100 fund of funds. And we sort of slow dripped it in the House with allocation, and so they got about $10 million starting in 2013. Then something happened with the fund, and we stopped contributing to it. And so a lot of their funds now come from U.S. Treasury funds, SSBCI funds. They work through the Department of Community Affairs. So last year, they got $50 million funds in U.S. Treasury funds, and this year they have $50 million to deploy in Treasury funds.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
DCA administers the fund or watches over it or audits or whatever it is?
Yeah, they work with the Invest Georgia Fund in order to allocate it. They don't really watch over it so much as they just help with the allocation of funds. That's one of the reasons for the report is I guess the Georgia General Assembly is supposed to be looking over it.
Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion. Move do pass from second from Mallow, Senator Mallow. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. All right, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Any nays? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna skip because I think the speaker's here for a shrimp bill, and so I'm gonna go to Representative Sands. Come on up here, HB 1341. Tell us a little bit about the shrimp, the white shrimp, as the official crustacean. I know the speaker's busy and he's got to get going, so we're going to go to the back on 1341, and that's LC 460836. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, 0836.
All right.
Thank you.
Tell us about the shrimp.
I appreciate it. Thank you, members of committee. And though this legislation has one line to it, it symbolizes a very important piece of legislation for not only all Georgians, but particularly the 536 boaters and hardworking shrimpers on the Georgia coast, on the beautiful 100 miles of the Georgia coast. So line 26 of the bill, white shrimp is designated as the official Georgia state crustacean. There hasn't been an official state crustacean until now. There's been a couple of unofficial ones mentioned on the House floor when we talked about it. But what we want to do is make sure, as Georgia shrimpers have faced uncertain market pressure, especially after I believe the Asian market in general has sold out of shore fishing, fish at 40% below the market average, dropping our domestic shrimp at a great cause. It's evident by if you go anywhere along the Georgia coast, you can see empty shrimping boats on docks, and as well as that in the market pressure by fuel. This is a way to make sure that Georgia consumers and all consumers across our nation know that white shrimp, especially those caught off Georgia shores, are the best choice for our families and our restaurants to make.
Okay.
And that's the crust of the bill.
All right, you had to say hello. I'm going to be honest with you. And I will tell you, this bill, I had several people wanting to add to this bill, and I said, no, this is for the First Lady of the House, and we're not adding anything to this bill. The Speaker wants this, and we're going to get this done. So thank you. Ms. Speaker, you have any comments on this?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And for the delegation, Senator Hickman, that represents Effingham County, I want you guys to know this came from our College and Career Academy. Democracy at its best, where the class worked on all the crustaceans that are on the Georgia coast, and came up with the idea then certainly that the Georgia white shrimp was the best. And from a consumer protection, I want to know if I'm eating a farm-raised shrimp or something that's caught out of the wild that's really natural and healthy. So I know that Chairman Hitchens and Senator Hickman and all, that we're very proud of the young people in Effingham. They held a pure democracy. Senator McLaren, I know you'll appreciate this. They held a vote in the class that allowed them to choose this crustacean, the Georgia white shrimp, as what should represent us in the state. And also, I'm very sensitive to the idea of what's going on the coast and how it's impacting our shrimpers by trying to compete with this illegal dumping, if you will, of shrimp into our state and into our country. So very proud and thankful for Stephen, and I know all our Senator Hodges and Senator Mallow and Senator Watson that represent the coast have lots of constituents that are impacted by this, as we all are. So we would appreciate it. And Miss Dale Burns would also appreciate it. And I certainly would be even more so appreciative.
Well, I was told Ms. Burns was, yeah, I said, we're not messing with this bill.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for being here. It means a lot for you to come here and speak on behalf of this bill. And any discussion, any questions? I'm going to let Senator Hickman, you want to make a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to pass, please.
Okay, I have a second.
Can I second, please?
All right. Senator Hodges, second.
And I third.
And we're going to do a third there. All right, any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous vote. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Appreciate it.
Thank you, members.
Who's carrying the bill?
Yeah, who's going to carry the bill?
Senator Ben Watson has agreed.
Senator Watson? Okay.
Has the senator thrown the shrimp?
Yeah, we're going to get this on the Rules Committee
No.
ASAP. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senators.
All right.
We appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to Representative Franklin on HB 1034.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask Representative Buckner to come join me.
All right.
We've got a bill that's, from my understanding, is going to be combined together, but this is, it's House Bill 1034, and the LC that I got is 550163.
All right, let's see if that's
But I think that there's a new version.
hold on. Let's see. It's, what's the LC number?
The one that I have is LC 550163, but again, I think we've combined them and they've changed.
Yeah, we got a new LC number. It's LC 394364S.
Okay.
Is what I have. Is that?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
So, if I may, on my portion of the bill,
It's a committee sub.
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Tell us what you got.
So this is basically just designating a day, the fourth Friday in November as National Sugarcane Syrup Day. And it's just kind of honoring that day to keep the traditions that we have in Georgia and honor those families that are still producing sugarcane, and because it's a dying art and people aren't doing it much. And the reason why we picked the fourth Friday is because traditionally, all the families would come together for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
While they had the families there, they would have the labor power to be able to produce the sugarcane during that time. And that's all this bill is.
Okay. Representative Buckner.
I have an add-on to his bill. He's very graciously accepted. In 2026, America will be 250 years old. And as one of the original 13 colonies, the National Daughters of the American Revolution have offered us 2 bronze plaques, historic plaques, that would commemorate our role as a state in the American Revolution. They would like to have one of these bronze plaques put on the Capitol grounds. That goes through the process of the Capitol Grounds Committee, and then, of course, it would have to be installed. Their desire is that this would all happen next year and be ready January of 2026 for the unveiling of this plaque, have the senators and the House members be a part of that as the kickoff for our 250th birthday celebration. some people thought this could wait, but it takes a little bit of time to get through all those processes, and it would make the daughters be very happy if it could go ahead and pass this year and go through the process. So the addition to the bill is for permission for this to be placed with permission from the Capitol Arts Commission on the grounds of the Capitol. They have also will give us one to go at the State Archives, and that's out in Morrow, and that has to go through the Board of Regents for permission of where to put it there. All of this is paid for by the Daughters of the American Revolution, except for the people digging the hole, which may end up being me.
All right. Any questions? Yes, number 4.
Good to see all representatives. I think I understand both the sugarcane and the plaque implications of the bill. As far as the plaque implications, is this just like a generic monument that doesn't name any one particular person, that sort of calls out an entire group or class of people? Am I understanding that right?
Right. It just commemorates the men and women who achieved American independence, and that these patriots believed in a noble cause of liberty and fought valiantly to found a new nation.
That seems pretty straightforward. Okay. Thanks, Representative.
Thank you.
Okay. Senator Watson?
Thank you both for bringing us sugarcane and the 250th. The only question I have is with plaques, memorials, who maintains that? Because the reason I bring that up is that most historical markers in Georgia have been done and maintained in the past by the state. That's been shifted to the Georgia Historical Society, which just happens to be in Savannah.
Right.
And and that's been a funding issue here in the legislature for a while. This one's placed by the Daughters of the American Revolution, DAR, and maintained by GBA or the grounds, or who?
Since it will be within the Capitol Square, it would probably be maintained by the GBA. That will be worked out through the Capitol Arts Commission.
Okay.
It's being donated by the DAR to the state, so the state would have responsibility. It will take a little less upkeep because it won't be so close to the roads where people are causing the most damage with our historic markers.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Number 8. Senator.
Thank y'all for being here. Support both of them very strong. Representative Franklin, you ever been to a cane grinding?
We our fairgrounds, they do it every time for the fairgrounds there, and it's quite nice.
Second question, have you ever chewed any sugar cane?
I have. I was just talking to her about it. My grandfather used to cut off a plug of tobacco and put it in his mouth, and I asked for it when I was like 4, and he goes, "I'll get you some." So he cut off a plug of sugar cane, and we give that to me. So I chew on the cane, he chew on his plug of tobacco.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, discussion? All right, I'll entertain a motion. Got a motion, do pass. Second from Hickman. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. We got a unanimous. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, Senator Sam Watson has agreed to carry it. Sorry.
Senator Watson carrying it? Okay.
Thank
Matter of
you.
fact, Representative Kendrick, who's going to carry your bill? I meant to ask you.
Senator Jones.
Senator Jones? All right, okay. All right, we got one more bill, HB 1048. Where's Representative there he is, the main man.
Me and Dolezal were in the gym this morning.
Easy money, easy money.
If I look skinnier, it's just because I've been looking at Senator Dolezal for the last hour.
Well,
all right, folks. So we got House Bill 1048 that's coming together like Voltron. We have it actually creates the state bread as cornbread. Obviously, we have a
and that's LC 46.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh.
LC 460884S.
All right.
So we got the history of Georgia going back to the native Indians. Cornbread's been a big part of our culture. Obviously, being in the restaurant business and the meat and three world, we value cornbread, and I think most Georgians value cornbread. So this would create cornbread as the state bread of Georgia. And then there's been a late addition to this bill on a measure I believe that you guys passed out of this committee on creating the Georgia Music Office. Obviously, as the chairman of Creative Arts and Entertainment, it's an issue that came out of our study committee a few years ago. We've done a great job in the state of Georgia with film, but we think we can really boost music We've got musicians all over the state, and most of them are born and bred here, and then they leave the state. We want to figure out a way to try to keep them here and hone their economic advantages for our state and keep them home. So that's basically what the bill does. I'll be glad to go through it or take questions, whatever you like.
All right, well, thank you. We've got a few questions, but I will tell you that I appreciate you allowing the music piece to be added to your bill.
No problem.
My sweet mate couldn't be here today because her mom's having a little surgery, but this is important, the music industry to the state. So we've got questions. All right, we've got number 9, Senator Eccles.
Sweet or savory?
So, I have to use a pinch of sugar in my cornbread, and the reason being
Wrong
that,
answer.
well,
Wrong answer.
just saying, the production methods have changed over the year, and the sweetness of the original corn is not in it like it used to be. So, they started adding a little bit of sugar back in the early 1900s.
Okay.
That's what got us here, but not Jiffy. Sorry, Jiffy, if you're watching.
Number 4, Senator.
Mr. Chairman, Representative, is it not true that Big Biscuit attempted to get to me last night to try to have me lead the counter-revolution in committee here today?
I heard that.
And
Yes,
is
sir.
it-
Pillsbury was knocking on your door? I heard.
Correct. And is it not further true that I have scanned the room several times and I see no Big Biscuit representatives here, meaning that they lack the follow-through to commit to the effort that they wanted me to put on? Is that right?
Yeah, I think most of the Biscuits folks are working this morning. Cornbread doesn't really come on till about 11, so the Biscuits guys have been up since 4.
There you go.
Over at Bojangles.
Passing bills in the dead of the morning. Okay, well, thank you, Representative, for the bill. I'll be happy to support it.
All right. Any other comments? Discussion? Anybody from the public want to talk about cornbread? All right.
Anybody want to talk about Kirk Cousins' big
That's a-
payday yesterday? While we're
$100 million guaranteed.
Ooh, big money.
That's good. All right, I'll entertain a motion. We got Senator McLaurin, do pass, second from Senator Mallow. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Well, we like cornbread.
Man, I got y'all. I'm glad I got y'all early
And
before
we love
us.
music.
Appreciate you.
All
I think
right,
we're gonna Senator Halpin's gonna carry the bill. So
Okay. All right.
appreciate you.
So listen, committee, we've got another meeting on Thursday at 3 o'clock to discuss we got a few more bills we're going to discuss. So that'll be our last meeting is 3 o'clock on Thursday, and it's 307 CLOB. With that, any other discussion? We're adjourned. Thank you.